We're back with more big ambitions. Last episode, last video, we got the factory producing goods. And I'll show you here. We actually have some modern, expensive female clothing and some classic female clothing. We've gone through about half of our inventory of the expensive fabric, and we don't have anything in stores yet. That has not gone into the stores yet. The end of last episode, I was finishing out laying out some of the racks in some of the stores, and then I made it back to my apartment. I am going to go ahead and skip through the rest of Wednesday, and I'll be back on Thursday morning. We'll see where we're at. We should have some deliveries going out because we do have some stock in the warehouse of expensive clothing. Classic expensive female clothing. So there should be some of that going out. We are going to get warning messages about the other expensive clothing for the other. Yeah, so all of these are the different stores, and it's the four different pieces of clothing. We don't have enough lines producing enough stuff yet, but we're going to be buying more equipment probably tomorrow. I'll be back on Thursday. All right, not as good of a day as I had expected. There's Uncle Fred again telling us about the HR manager and the health plan. Let's see what Helen said. Couldn't be delivered. Yeah, so it's all the expensive clothing, right? And we don't have that. We should, though, right now have some expensive clothing in stock at the store. And there you can see there we have 150 units of both the classic and the modern expensive female clothing. So that's something good there, and this one as well. That's the Lower Manhattan store, and what we should have, same numbers here as well. So we have these numbers. Again, we're at almost 600K. So I think the first thing we'll do this morning at some point when we can is we will, at 10 o'clock, contact them for another industrial sewing machine, a laser cutting machine, and a consumer goods assembly machine. And we will get that set up for another line. And I think what I'm going to do is head to that location now, as we have a couple of hours. And I want to make sure this is the only thing. Yeah, that's the only thing that we kind of are missing here. Take a quick look. Looks like clothing store went down, legal services went down. Everything went down yesterday for some reason. Everything. And I think this 9,000 is probably due to, yeah, the fabric, right? So we paid for additional fabric to come in because I didn't realize the fabric was already at the factory yesterday. So, all right, I'm going to head to my car and head to the factory. And when I'm in front of the factory, I'll be back. All right, I'm here in front of the factory, and we can't get really anything until the store opens, the factory store. And I only need another employee, which I think we have some candidates here. Thought we had some candidates, and we only have one candidate, unfortunately, which is a part time candidate. So the first thing I'm going to do is discard those and get my headhunter on factory workers. And let's get that going. And then I need to contact Fresh threaders today at 1400, and we're going to get one of those, and one of those. And we have enough. We'll get that order in, and that's coming today in about 4 hours, which hopefully gives enough time for my headhunter to start looking for a factory worker. And there's no seating in here, so that's no good. I can't kind of sit down and waste some time away. I can here, though. I'll be back right about the time that we're getting deliveries. All right, we just got our delivery. Ooh, we could probably use another pallet shelf. All right, consumer goods assembly machine. And on one end goes the laser cutter. And then on the other end goes that. And then we have the male clothing that we can do here. Let me see what kind of candidates we have. Factory worker. All right, I got some factory workers here. I am going to negotiate with a couple of these folks, and I will be back when I'm done and have them scheduled. All right, I'm back. I have negotiated, hired, and scheduled another employee, and you can see they're already at work. Got some messages here from my new employees, and I have not added them into HR yet, so we're going to do that now. Let's see. I didn't have to hire many because I had some part-time folks that didn't have a lot of hours from this first line, so I used some of them as well. We've got that running 2 lines now, and I am not sure there's a whole lot left for me to do today. So I am going to return to my apartment, and I think probably waste the rest of Thursday, and when I get back to my apartment, we'll talk then. All right, I'm back at the apartment, and there's not a lot left for me to do today. So I am going to get through the rest of Thursday, and I'll see you on Friday. All right, our biggest day ever, and we have Helen still with a message for us. My assumption is that we're out of some of the clothing, but that's our biggest day ever. Right? That's our biggest day ever. Over 122,000. Yeah, so it's still talking about some of the expensive clothing not being delivered. We didn't have, I think probably, yeah, we didn't have a lot of male clothing, and we're out of fabric. So we're out of fabric. So we're going to need one to get that urgent order in for tomorrow, unfortunately. And I think what I'm going to do, yeah, I can't change that order right now. But what we can do is with regards to the factory, since we don't have, do I have to be at the factory in order to tell it what I want to produce? Because I'm wanting now to produce the, I don't see a way to do that. Big time money at Fresh Threads also. So big increase there. Exact same dollars at the Fresh Legal Services that it made the day before. Big time increase at Fresh Threads. Big time increase. The legal services was down a couple bucks at Midtown. Fresh Eats went up, and Fresh Threads Lower Manhattan went up a little bit. My only problem is I don't see a way here we go. Okay, so we're going to produce modern cheap female, modern cheap male today. And we've got fabric for cheap clothing, right? So we got that. Nothing's been delivered. The expensive male clothing has not been delivered. So the first thing I'm going to do is get something to eat here. I'm going to need to go to the grocery store and get that, but I don't have a whole lot else I'm going to be doing today, I don't think. Today is Friday. Grocery store doesn't open until 10. All right, so I'm going to run down to the grocery, pick up some groceries, but that's going to probably be about it. Take this down to the fridge, and then we're pretty much done for the day. We don't have enough money to buy any additional lines of to produce anything at the factory. We got folks doing some cheap clothing today, and so ideally what I'd like to do would be is to get to a point where we're producing as much cheap clothing as we are the expensive clothing, so much so that we maybe we don't have to worry about having to place an order for the cheap clothing, right? That's the hope. I mean, right now we're looking at a $68,000 order that's going to come in on Monday. Hopefully this can go down because we're going to have maybe not 1,250 of these, but we're going to have some of these taken care of. So I am going to waste a good part of Friday. Unless something comes up, I won't bring you in until Saturday. Like I said, unless something comes up. Another big time day, 120K. And again, this is, I'm sure, yeah, so not quite as good of a day at Fresh Threads also, nor at Fresh Threads. Probably because we're running out of stock on the expensive clothing, and I'll have to take a look at that here in just a minute. We did make more at our legal services in Midtown and our lower Manhattan Fresh Threads. We did pretty well there too. What is it that we're spending 16,000? Oh, the fabric. Okay, so we got more fabric in, right? Logistics managers. No, purchasing agents. We need to get a 8 o'clock this morning. Our order is going to be in. Okay. Oh, we have no fabric left. Zero. Oh, you know what? I don't have. Yeah, so I don't have. I guess. Shoot. Yeah, I don't have a schedule here. I don't think to deliver the cheap clothing to the warehouse. So, and so now we know we can produce about 1,260 a day, give or take. We're going to deliver 2,000 a day of everything, clothing wise. We should not have anything in the factory at the end of the day. So that's okay. It's not a huge concern. Helen did tell us that there's something going on here, and that's the expensive clothing, right? So we didn't get the expensive clothing in the stores. Now, like I said, I suspect that was the issue with yesterday, right? We had, well, no, that one's still got some stock. That one does too. As does that one. Okay, so we're pretty well stocked, which is good. The other thing that we did last episode or last video was that we shut our legal services down on Saturdays. right? We're no longer open on Saturdays for our legal services, any of them. And for a couple of reasons. One, the last couple of Saturdays, it hasn't been bringing in as much as it was costing. So, no point in having it open. And actually, I'm going to turn off the marketing for today. I don't know that I need to, but I'm going to. Just turn it off, not cancel them. I don't want to cancel them, but I am going to turn it off. That might help us too. All right. And not much else for us to do today. A couple of part time factory workers, which we don't really need. We've got a full schedule. Things are going to get produced today. And again, I don't have anything. I mean, I'll check, I guess, some inventory at some of the other locations, but I don't think I've got anything that I'm missing or that I'm even low on. Yeah, no, I'm fully stocked everywhere. So, fully stocked everywhere. The only thing might be is the warehouse might not have. And we're down to a single day on the clothing for even for the cheap stuff. And burgers, we're down to a day, but we've got enough. So I'm going to waste most of Saturday unless something comes up, and I'll see you on Sunday. All right. So I thought I would bring you in. We just got a shipment from this is our urgent fabric shipment, I'm sure. So, because, yeah, it was the fabric that came in. So here's what I'm going to do, though. I am going to weigh up the fabric. And our factory should be making stuff at this point again. And they are making cheap clothes right now. Let's go back to the expensive clothes. So let's see. What did we have in inventory? It was the expensive stuff, modern. So we're going to do classic expensive male and classic expensive female. We got those going. So I am going to probably finish off the rest of Saturday, and we'll see where we're at on Sunday. All right, not as good of a day, but we have 3 businesses closed yesterday. We have the travel agency closed and our legal business is closed, right? So our law firms were closed yesterday and our travel agency was closed yesterday, and we still ended up with $91,000. I think probably come Monday, we're going to be buying yet another line, and we're going to be. So I think what I want to do, they're not going to be able to recruit until Monday because they're not in the office until Monday. But I think probably come Monday, I will be purchasing the equipment for yet another line. There's not much for me to do. I think Helen contacted us again about the clothing. Yeah, so the clothing has not been delivered, and there's a reason for that. We didn't have it, I don't think, in the warehouse. Clothing, classic, modern, cheap, female, classic, expensive, modern, expensive. So we're getting some expensive clothing in the warehouse now. That's the first thing. Yeah, so this was over 60K. It's now down to 44. And at some point, when we've got enough, we'll have this down to almost nothing when we're producing enough clothing in our factory. All right. Again, not much for me to do today. I don't think I'm going to run through real quick and look at inventory, but I don't think we need to make a run to We're not going to need to make a run to a wholesaler, I don't believe. Yeah, we're good. We're good. So, nothing to do today. I will be back on Monday. All right, we had a pretty good day yesterday, and we didn't even have, we had 3 businesses not open yesterday, right? We had no businesses open at the Fresh Legal Services was not open, the travel business wasn't open, and Midtown Legal was not open, and yet we still made over 100,000 yesterday. The clothing store and this factory that we've got going is something else, really something else. Um, Now the thing is that we turned off marketing for the legal business, so what did we have? We had all 3 of those and that one? No, we did not. We had that one and that one for that legal business. I don't remember. Did we turn off? We did turn off marketing for the travel business. Or we had all 3 of those going. And then we had marketing cut off here. All right. We've got the legal businesses back open today. And again, Helen's telling us we don't have some of the clothing. We didn't have burgers and fries apparently to deliver this morning, which we should have orders coming in for that today. So I'm not real concerned about that. The other thing, though, we want to take a look at is all right, well, it went up a little bit, I think. I think it was at 44. So we're going to be getting some clothing in here. But the other thing we're getting is we're going to be getting another line. So I am going to set my destination to the factory. We're going to set up a third line, and I'm going to buy well, maybe not actually. Let me do this. Let me waste a little bit of time for the orders to come in because we're going to have to pay for the orders. All right, my orders have come in. Yeah, I don't have enough. Okay, so that's what I was wondering. Okay, I don't have enough pallet shelves either apparently. So how much did they give us of the fabric? All right. I'm going to have to go get some more pallet shelves. So I'm going to head to my car. Actually, I'm going to head across the street here to the appliance store. I think that's where I got the shelves before, pallet shelves. And I think what I'm going to do is grab 2 more pallet shelves, not storage shelves. We need pallet shelves. So I'm going to grab 2 of those. Actually, I'll tell you what, I'm going to grab 4 of them. That way I'm not going to be without them. I'm going to put these in the car and get those over to the warehouse. Come on, how did you put me out right there? I already have the warehouse selected, so I will be back when I'm in front of the warehouse or the factory. All right, I'm here in front of my warehouse here, my factory, if you will, and carrying a pallet shelf in, and then I'll grab the cart for the others. Didn't know I was going to need that many pallet shelves, but look at that, full. All right, let me grab this and head out to the car. Oh my goodness. All right, let's get these placed. All right. Now we should have plenty of storage space for fabric. And we're producing the expensive. Let's do, okay, so these are both classic expensive. So let's do modern expensive male here, modern expensive female here. All right. And let me take a look at my candidates here. All right. So a couple part time, there's a full time factory worker. That's good. Couple part-time factory workers, but those, I know those might not fall off before I get the next line purchased. And I think we're pretty much done for the day. So once again, I am going to head back to the apartment and I'll be back with you when I'm there. All right, I'm back at the apartment. Middle of the afternoon on Monday. I am going to get through the rest of Monday, and unless something comes up, I'll see you on Tuesday. All right, another pretty big day. And once again, Helen's reminding us that we don't have some of the things in stock, right? So some of the expensive clothing not in stock, can't be delivered, which we're working on at the factory. I don't know that I have enough today to do the additional machines. So we did go down a little bit at the clothing stores, it looks like, but our legal businesses picked up. So that was a bonus. Travel business picked up, obviously, because all of those businesses were closed the day before. The day before yesterday, right? That was Sunday and they're all closed. For some reason, this isn't selling much expensive stuff, and I would have expected Lower Manhattan to want the expensive clothing. And they do. We're the only business in town. And for some reason, we're just not selling it. Here's what else is weird, though. What I don't see, there it is. The demand for this, that's a product shortage, is only at 30% for some reason. Our expensive clothes are at 95%, and yet we can't seem to sell it. I don't. It almost doesn't make any sense. I mean, look at that. We sold 6 in the last 7 days, 1 in the last 7 days of that, and we've got plenty of them in stock. It's not like we don't have them in stock. So I don't. Something doesn't seem right with the demand when you're looking at market insight. Oh, wait a minute. Maybe I wasn't looking at. Yeah, I was looking at Lower Manhattan. All right, I'm going to grab something to eat here, but I don't think there's anything I need to do today. I'm not going to be able to buy additional machines today. So, but let me do this real quick before I go any further. Let me see what we have here. Okay, so we've got some expensive fabric left, and I don't know it. We'll have to see. We didn't have 10,000. It couldn't deliver the 10,000 because of we didn't have all of the pallet shelves there. Do we not have this in the warehouse? Classic expensive mail. Is that? Oh yeah, we've got it in the warehouse. I don't I don't I don't get that. I'm not real sure what's going on there, but all right, so I'm going to waste a good part of Tuesday, and if anything comes up, I'll bring you in. Otherwise, I'll see you on Wednesday. All right, another pretty good day. I think that's probably our highest yet, 128. I don't think we had 130. We did go down at Fresh Foods and Fresh Threads also, but we went up on the legal services. A little bit off of on Fresh Threads, but we went up on the travels. The legal Midtown went way up, so that helped. And we just don't seem to be selling the clothing like I thought we would here in Lower Manhattan. But we do have we do have expensive clothing in stock, all except for the classic expensive male, which I think is forthcoming. Lower Manhattan. Yeah, I don't get that one. And we still have so we still have some expensive clothing in stock. Now the question is, do I have okay, we still have expensive fabric, a little bit of expensive fabric to go. So we'll see if that ends up being today and then maybe switching it over to do the cheap clothing. And right now, first, what did Helen send us? I'm sure it's clothing stuff. Yeah, it's clothing related. I'm just interested to see if we're. Well, oh no, we're still, according to this, we're still looking at a $33,000 order on Monday. So yeah, the I'm gonna head to the warehouse, the factory, because we're going to order another line, basically. And I need to kind of see how this works out. But I am going to. The factory depot doesn't open until 10, so I can't do anything there. I'll be back when I'm in front of the warehouse. All right, I'm here. Still got about another hour to go before I wonder now, though, with regards to how I should space these. And since there's people working, I can't move them. But I'm thinking what I probably should have done was move them further up this way. I think what I should have done is probably moved them up further this way. And then I could get more, and I don't know, maybe, I'm not sure exactly how, but might be able to almost interlock the other ones that I'm going to put in here. Oh, let's get them called and get it here today. So we need assembly machine, industrial sewing machine, and a laser cutting machine. 480,000. So that will give me still an extra 100,000. Right, there was a bench out here somewhere. Yeah, right here. I'm going to go ahead and waste this time. There's our delivery. So difficult to see. All right, so there's another line, and I'm going to once again negotiate with some factory workers here to get them hired, get them on the schedule for that next position. And I'm again going to cut this out. I won't bother you guys with this, and I'll be back when that's done. All right, I have returned. I have hired some people for this line, and you can see that person's already there, and that one is now producing classic cheap female, and we're producing the modern expensive clothing down here. So I want to make sure that I respect everyone's viewing time. So I am going to set my destination back to my usual parking spot. I am going to head back to my apartment, and I think we're going to call this an episode. I want to thank everybody for watching. I appreciate all the views that we're getting, as well as some of the new subscriptions that we've been getting. Please feel free to give me that subscription. I would certainly appreciate if you feel that it warrants it. I would appreciate it. It does help the channel grow. And again, I would certainly appreciate it. Feel free to give it a thumbs up as well. Give that like button a press. And if there's something that you have, a tip or a trick or comment, by all means, go ahead and comment below. I would appreciate that as well. Let me know what you guys think. Let me know, like I said, any comments with regards to tips or tricks or anything like that. Let me know. Guys, thanks for watching this one. Come back and watch the next. We'll see you.